Welcome to another WalterFootball.com video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst. Before we get started on this week's mock, click the settings below, speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5. I think that makes the videos a lot better. So let's get into it. First pick, Jets. Trevor Lawrence, no-brainer. If they get that pick, they got to take Lawrence. Trade Sam Darnold. Get some second-day ammunition to build around Lawrence. They got a lot of holes on that roster. If they get the first pick, I think that's a no-brainer, and the Jets could actually be started in the right direction here. Second overall pick, I have the Falcons taking Gregory Rousseau. Interesting pick. We'll see if Atlanta ends up picking this high. I doubt it. I think that they're going to win more under Raheem Morris, and I don't think they're going to end up picking that high. But if they do, and it's really going to come down to the next regime of head coach and general manager. Do they want to try and win with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, or do they want to trade those guys and start a rebuild, get some picks, and really build a young core of a team? So, under the assumption that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones stick around, I have the Falcons taking Gregory Rousseau, the defensive end from Miami. Atlanta's defense has been undersized for years. They've needed that disruptive edge rusher. Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley didn't work out. They need that guy that can really get after the quarterback and make things happen for them. So Rousseau to Atlanta. Third overall pick, I have the Giants taking Jamar Chase. They badly need that number one receiver for Daniel Jones. I think the receivers they've put out there for him is really shameful, with the exception of Slayton. I think that was great scouting by them on day 3. But going with Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate just is really a disservice to Jones and his development. So they got to get a legit number one receiver for him. Jamar Chase would definitely be that. Fourth overall pick, I have the Chargers taking Penei Sewell, the left tackle from Oregon. That's a dream come true for them. They need a left tackle upgrade, reunite him with Justin Herbert, and I think that'd be a great pick for Los Angeles. Fifth overall pick, I have the Redskins taking Justin Fields, the quarterback from Ohio State. I think the writing is on the wall there. Ron Rivera, Scott Turner, that staff just are not buying into Dwayne Haskins. Obviously, they didn't even give him half the season before they benched him. So I think Fields to Washington is a definite possibility. Sixth overall pick, I have the Jaguars taking Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle from Alabama. Taven Bryan's been a real disappointment in Jacksonville. I think they really need to upgrade their interior pass rush, give them a guy to go next to Josh Allen and Chase on, really make it difficult on offensive lines, and that'll help their pass defense on the back end as well. Seventh overall pick, I have the Vikings taking Trey Lance. I think Kirk Cousins, the Vikings have seen everything they need to see at this point. He's a competent NFL starter for the regular season, but he's not a championship caliber quarterback. So you take Trey Lance, let him sit and learn behind Cousins for a year or two. Trey Lance is going to be really raw entering the NFL. Only one season of playing time at North Dakota State, very reduced caliber of competition. So I think he's going to need developmental time. Makes sense to let Cousins play out a year or two of that contract, make it easier when you do dump him, that the cap implications aren't as painful. So eighth overall pick, I have the Dolphins taking Carlos Basham. I think Miami's doing a really good job of building that team. I think Brian Flores is really coaching them up really well. I do think they could use an edge rusher to go next to Christian Wilkins. I think that'll make Kyle Van Noy, Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, the guys they brought in, better players as complementary guys if they have that kind of lead edge rusher. And Basham is a really versatile player, and his tenacity and physicality I think is a great fit for Flores. Ninth overall pick, I have the Lions taking Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State. Linebacker has been a real issue for the Lions for many years now. Parsons would be plug-and-play upgrade. 10th overall pick, I have the Broncos taking Sam Cosmi, the left tackle from Texas. I think Garrett Bowles could be done with them after this season. Cosmi would definitely be an upgrade in terms of pass protection. Needs to get stronger. He's shown progress there from last year to this year, and I think time in an NFL strength and conditioning program will help him with that. So 11th overall pick, I have the Eagles taking Alex Leatherwood, the left tackle from Alabama. He's a versatile player. You could play him at guard, maybe even center, and I think that would make the Eagles line a lot better. If Brandon Brooks doesn't come back all the way, you could start Leatherwood out at left tackle, or at right guard, I should say. Left tackle could be an option if Andre Dillard doesn't pan out. But I think just having another player up front there could really make a lot of sense for the Eagles. They have some age on that offensive line. I think more young talent would make sense. 12th overall pick, I have the Bengals taking Dylan Moses, the linebacker from Alabama. He's really come along the last few weeks, looking like the Dylan Moses of old. Was a little rusty at the beginning of the season, and the Bengals badly need linebacker upgrades, so Moses would make sense for them, especially in that division with going against Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. I think a guy like Moses would really help that defense. 13th overall pick, I have the Dolphins taking Andre Cisco, safety from Syracuse. Rashad Jones is gone. I think Miami could use an upgrade at the safety position. Cisco's a ball hawk. He'd be a really nice player in that defense, and he's physical and has put together pretty well. So I think he'd be a good fit for Flores. All right, 14th overall pick. I have the 49ers taking Javon Holland, another ball hawk, really excellent coverage safety, a little on the small side, but San Francisco, really, safety's been a problem for them for years. I think they really need to fix that. Holland would be a nice pick for them. 15th overall pick, I have the Patriots taking Jalen Waddle, the speedster wide receiver from Alabama. He's a home run hitter. The receivers in New England have been an issue for years. Waddle would be an instant upgrade, give them a playmaker and a guy that can stretch the field and really challenge defenses vertically. So Waddle to New England would make a ton of sense. 16th overall pick, I have the Panthers taking Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback from Alabama. Carolina needs a number one corner after letting James Bradbury leave in free agency. I think they could use a cornerback with some size, go with Dante Jackson and Troy Pride, and give them a talented young trio. 17th overall pick, I have the Bucks taking Travis Etienne, the running back from Clemson. Would definitely make sense. Give Tom Brady another weapon, a guy that can turn just a check down pass into a huge play for his offense. Leonard Fournette's only signed to a one-year deal, and Ronald Jones, I think, is better as a rotational backup and rotational guy rather than being the every down back. 18th overall pick, I have the Colts taking Caleb Farley, the cornerback from Virginia Tech. Corner's been an issue for the Colts. Farley has size, speed, a great skill set. And the Colts have a really good coaching staff that has developed young talent well. So I think you give them a talented guy like Farley, that they could really work wonders with him. 19th overall pick, I have the Cowboys taking Shaun Wade, the cornerback from Ohio State. I think Dallas really should hone in on taking the best player available on the defensive side, best defensive prospect available, with the exception of maybe a linebacker and edge rusher, depending on how we see these veterans of theirs play and if they can avoid getting injured. But if those positions could be in consideration as well. But Shaun Wade would definitely upgrade their coverage. He can play corner, he can play safety, can line up in the slot, versatile corner. Could really help Dallas. 20th overall, I have the Saints taking Devontae Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama. I love this pick. I love that fit in the Saints offense. I think he'd be an excellent number 2 receiver to go with Michael Thomas. Emmanuel Sanders, at this point of his career, isn't a long-term answer to that issue. So Smith is a pure football player, great route runner, excellent hands, dangerous after the catch, has good speed, just as a thin build is the only knock on him, but he's a pure football player, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is able to overcome that weakness in the NFL and still be a good pro. 21st overall, the Raiders, I have them taking Trey Hill. I would prefer an edge rusher for them. They need to. Cleveland Farrell's been a disappointment. They got to get more pressure on the quarterback off the edge. And they also need linebacker help, but there really aren't good options available at those positions in this mock. So I have them taking Trey Hill, the center from Georgia. He can also play guard. I think Gabe Jackson is going to get let go by the Raiders before too long. So Trey Hill could come in and play right guard, and then in a few years when Rodney Hudson's maybe too expensive and as a declining vet, they could slide Trey Hill over to center. So I definitely could see the offensive line kind of being a need for the Raiders, maybe not the most pressing need, but one that they would consider. 22, I have the Cardinals taking Kyle Pitts, the playmaking receiving tight end from Florida. I think that would be an excellent pick for them because Larry Fitzgerald eventually is going to be done here, and they're going to need something like a number 2 receiver to help take the pressure off DeAndre Hopkins and burn defenses when they try and roll extra coverage that direction. I think Pitts would be a phenomenal weapon there in that offense. They already have the slot receivers in Christian Kirk and Danny Isabella. So I think adding a weapon like Hill would be a great pick for Pitts, I should say. 23rd overall, I have the Chiefs taking Tyson Campbell, the cornerback from Georgia. Corner's been an issue for them. They could use upgrades. Campbell would be a plug-and-play upgrade. Big corner, can match up with size receivers. I think that'd be a nice fit for Kansas City. 24th overall, I have the Ravens taking Richard LeCounte, the safety from Georgia. I think that would be a nice fit in the Ravens defense, give them a replacement for Earl Thomas. 25th overall pick, I have the Bears taking Wyatt Davis, the guard from Ohio State, give them a replacement for Kyle Long. I think that Davis would be a really nice upgrade for them to improve the strength and physicality up front for Chicago. 26th overall pick, I have the Browns taking Jay Tafule, the defensive tackle from USC. I think Sheldon Richardson, well, one, he was a signing of the previous regime, and two, he's getting closer towards the end of that contract. So I think they could save some money considering all that they paid they wanted to pay Jadeveon Clowney, but they did pay Myles Garrett. So getting another young, cheap, talented defensive lineman I think could make sense for Cleveland. Jacksonville Jaguars picking 27th. This is their pick from the Rams in the Jalen Ramsey trade. I have them taking Walker Little, the left tackle from Stanford. Cam Robinson's going to be a free agent after this season. Even if he's brought back, they could move on from A.J. Cann. So they could take an offensive lineman and end up putting that guy at guard, or if Robinson isn't re-signed, they're going to have a huge hole at left tackle. So adding to that offensive line I think would make sense for Jacksonville. 28th overall, I have the Bills taking Paris Ford. Their starting safeties, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, are getting closer to the ends of their contracts. It might be expensive to keep both of them and do extensions for both. So I could see them looking at safety, and Paris Ford would be a great fit in that defense. He is fun to watch. He is fast and physical, can make plays in coverage, is also a good run defender. So I like Paris Ford to the Bills. 29th overall, I have the Packers taking Jalen Mayfield. They could use some young talent for that offensive line. Mayfield was really impressive last year at right tackle for Michigan. Be interesting to see how he develops with more experience, but he handled himself pretty well against Chase Young, and I think that Green Bay's got to get some young talent up front on that offensive line. 30th overall, I have the Steelers taking Paulson Adebo, the cornerback from Stanford. Ball-hawking corner, needs to improve his eye discipline and needs to improve the ability of not biting on double moves. I think working with Mike Tomlin could really help on that. So Steelers taking Adebo. 31st overall, I have the Titans taking Joe Tryon, the edge rusher from Washington. Clowney was only signed to a one-year deal. They could really use more young, long-term edge rushing talent, so Tryon to the Titans. 32nd overall, with the pick that the Jets got from the Seahawks, I have them taking Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Obviously, the Jets' wide receiving core is terrible. I can't believe that Mike McCagnon and Joe Douglas, between the two of them combined to put this receiving core together. It's awful. I can't believe they let Robbie Anderson go. That was a terrible decision. He's been excellent for Carolina, could have really helped them this year. So obviously the Jets receivers are terrible and stink, and they need some upgrades. And Olave, while he isn't the biggest receiver, he's a playmaker, has a nose for the end zone, really polished, good, dependable receiver, and I think he'd be a pretty safe pick there late in the first round. So that's my mock for this week. Click the links below. You can read about it. We got all our position rankings updated there. All kinds of other great draft content to go up on the site continuously. I got college game recaps, stock reports, big board, you name it. Check out Walt's picks. He's just killing it this year. After 5 weeks, he's already won over $5,000. So check out his picks and the clip videos if you want to zero in on a specific game. Get the wisdom from him and Jacob and go make some money. And then lastly, please like and share the video. I'd really appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Draft Campbell. You can follow Walt on Twitter at Walter Football. And I'll be back with you guys next week.